Picture this. It's December 1966, and Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll himself, is standing outside Graceland at 3 a.m., holding something that would forever change his relationship with Priscilla Beaulieu. Not diamonds, not another Cadillac, but something so unexpected that it would bring tears to her eyes and reveal a side of Elvis the world had never seen. What happens next will shatter everything you thought you knew about their legendary love story. This isn't just another tale of fame and fortune. It's about a moment so raw, so genuine, that it would define their relationship forever. Are you ready to discover the gift that changed everything? The Memphis winter of 1966 was unusually harsh, but inside the walls of Graceland, Elvis Presley was burning with a different kind of fire. For months, he had been working on something in complete secrecy, something that even his closest confidants knew nothing about. The Colonel thought he was rehearsing for his upcoming recording sessions. Priscilla believed he was simply dealing with the pressures of fame. But the truth was far more extraordinary. Elvis had been teaching himself to paint. It started, innocently enough. A chance encounter with a local artist at a Memphis coffee shop had sparked something deep within the king. Art is the only honest way to show someone your soul, the elderly painter had told him, and those words haunted Elvis for weeks. He thought about Priscilla, about how she had given up everything, her family, her homeland, her teenage years, to be with him. How could he possibly show her what that meant to him? Words felt inadequate, songs seemed too public, and jewelry felt too shallow. The small art studio he set up in Graceland's basement became his sanctuary. Night after night, while Priscilla slept, Elvis would sneak down there, paint-stained fingers working by lamplight. He wasn't naturally gifted. His first attempts were clumsy, almost childlike. But he persisted with the same determination that had made him a star. He studied art books, watched instructional films, and slowly, painfully, began to improve. The painting he was creating wasn't just any artwork. It was Priscilla, but not as the world saw her, not as the glamorous girlfriend of a superstar. This was Priscilla as Elvis saw her in their most intimate moments, laughing over breakfast at 2 p.m., curled up reading in the library, dancing alone in their bedroom when she thought no one was watching. Every brushstroke was a memory, every color choice a declaration of love. Vernon Presley discovered the studio by accident one December evening. Walking past the basement door, he heard the soft sounds of Elvis humming, not performing, but the unconscious humming of a man lost in deep concentration. When he peered inside, he found his son covered in paint, completely absorbed in his work. The painting was nearly complete, and Vernon gasped. It wasn't just good. It was breathtaking. More than that, it captured something Vernon had never seen his son express so clearly: vulnerability, tenderness, and a love so profound it seemed to glow from the canvas. "Son," Vernon whispered, "this is going to change everything." Elvis looked up, paint still wet on his fingers, and for the first time in months, he smiled with genuine peace. "I sure hope so, Daddy. I sure hope so." Priscilla knew something was different about Elvis in the weeks leading up to Christmas. The man who could command any stage, who never showed nervousness before millions of fans, was fidgeting like a schoolboy with his first crush. She caught him staring at her with an intensity that made her blush, as if he was memorizing every detail of her face. When she asked him about it, he would just smile mysteriously and change the subject. "You're acting strange, even for you," she teased him one evening as they sat by the fireplace in Graceland's living room. The Christmas tree sparkled in the corner, wrapped presents scattered beneath it like colorful promises. Elvis pulled her closer on the velvet sofa, his strong arms encircling her waist. Can't a man look at the woman he loves without being accused of strange behavior? His voice carried that playful Memphis drawl that still made her heart skip beats after all these years together. But Priscilla wasn't fooled. She had learned to read Elvis like a favorite book. Every gesture, every expression, every change in his voice told her a story. There was something he was planning, something big. She had noticed the paint under his fingernails that he thought he had scrubbed clean, the way he disappeared for hours at a time, the secretive phone calls with people whose names she didn't recognize. The Memphis Mafia, Elvis's loyal entourage, were in on whatever was happening. Red West would quickly change conversations when she entered rooms. Charlie Hodge would grin knowingly whenever she asked about Elvis's whereabouts. And even sweet Aunt Delta seemed to be hiding something behind her usual warm smiles. "I know you're up to something," Priscilla said, tracing patterns on Elvis's chest through his silk shirt. "Your whole crew's acting suspicious. You disappear for hours. And yesterday I could have sworn I smelled turpentine on your jacket." Elvis's heart raced. Had he been that obvious? He had tried so hard to keep the painting a secret, but Priscilla was incredibly perceptive. It was one of the things he loved most about her. She saw through all his layers, past the fame and the image, straight to the man underneath. "Darling," he said, tilting her chin up so their eyes met, "do you trust me?" The question surprised her with its seriousness. "Of course I do. With my life." "Then trust me when I say that what I'm planning, it's going to show you something I've never been able to put into words. Something I should have shown you a long time ago." His blue eyes were intense, vulnerable in a way that made her breath catch. Priscilla felt tears prick her eyes. Whatever Elvis was planning, she could feel the weight of it, the importance he was placing on it. "How long do I have to wait?" "2 more days," Elvis whispered, kissing her forehead gently. "Just 2 more days, and then everything changes." December 24th, 1966. Christmas Eve at Graceland was usually a celebration filled with friends, family, and the kind of Southern hospitality that made legends. But this year, Elvis had made an unusual request. He wanted Christmas Eve to be intimate, just him and Priscilla. The Memphis Mafia had been sent home to their own families. The usual party was postponed, and even Vernon and Gladys had been asked to give them the evening alone. Priscilla found it strange, but beautiful. They had dinner by candlelight, danced to soft music in the living room, and talked for hours about everything and nothing. Elvis was tender, attentive, but she could feel the nervous energy radiating from him like heat from a fire dot at 11:47 p.m. Just 13 minutes before Christmas Day, Elvis took her hand. "Close your eyes," he said softly. "Elvis, what? Please, darling." "Trust me." Priscilla closed her eyes, letting Elvis guide her through Graceland's familiar halls. She could smell his cologne, feel the warmth of his hand in hers, hear his slightly quickened breathing. They were moving toward the basement. She realized a part of Graceland she rarely visited. "Keep them closed?" Elvis whispered as he opened a door she had never noticed before. The smell hit her immediately. Paint, turpentine, and something else ... Creation, inspiration, the scent of artistic passion. When Elvis finally told her to open her eyes, Priscilla gasped so sharply that she nearly stumbled backward. Before her was a fully equipped art studio she never knew existed, and in the center, illuminated by soft gallery lighting that Elvis had installed himself, was the most beautiful painting she had ever seen. It was her, but not just her physical form. Elvis had somehow captured her essence, her spirit, her very soul on canvas. The painting showed her in a moment of pure joy, laughing with her head thrown back, sunlight streaming through her hair, wearing a simple white dress that seemed to glow with inner light. But it was her eyes that took her breath away. They held love, hope, dreams, and a happiness so pure it seemed to radiate from the painting itself. "Elvis ... she whispered, tears streaming down her face. Did you paint this?" He nodded, suddenly shy, suddenly uncertain. "I've been working on it for months. I wanted to show you how I see you, how you look to me every single day. Not as Elvis Presley's girlfriend, not as someone who belongs to my world, but as the woman who made me believe in real love again. Priscilla turned to him, and Elvis saw something in her expression that made his heart soar. It wasn't just surprise or appreciation, it was recognition. She saw herself through his eyes, and for the first time, she truly understood the depth of his love for her. The painting changed everything, just as Elvis had hoped it would. In the days and weeks that followed Christmas Eve 1966, Priscilla began to see herself and their relationship through completely new eyes. The girl who had sometimes felt like an accessory to Elvis's fame now understood that she was his inspiration, his muse, his anchor in a world that often felt surreal and overwhelming. Word of Elvis's artistic revelation spread quickly through their inner circle. The Memphis Mafia was astounded. None of them had suspected that their larger-than-life friend possessed such hidden depths. Colonel Parker, ever the businessman, saw dollar signs and suggested Elvis explore art as another revenue stream. But Elvis firmly shut down any commercial discussions. This was personal, sacred, and not for sale. The painting hung in their private bedroom, where only they could see it. Every morning, Priscilla would wake up and catch Elvis looking between her and the portrait, a soft smile playing on his lips. "Still can't believe I managed to capture even half of your beauty," he would murmur, pulling her close. But the real transformation went deeper than artistic expression. Elvis had discovered something profound in those midnight hours in his secret studio. Creating art had given him a way to process emotions he had never known how to handle. The pressure of fame, the isolation of stardom, the constant scrutiny of his personal life, all of it could be channeled into his brushstrokes. He began painting regularly, not just portraits of Priscilla, but landscapes that reminded him of his childhood in Mississippi, abstract pieces that captured his feelings about his music, and intimate scenes of their life together. The basement studio became his sanctuary, a place where Elvis Presley the entertainer could disappear and Elvis the man could emerge. Priscilla, inspired by his artistic journey, began to explore her own creativity. She took up photography, capturing candid moments of their life that the press never saw. Elvis reading quietly in the garden, playing piano at 3 a.m., or simply being still and thoughtful. Together, they created a visual diary of their love story that was entirely their own. The change was visible to everyone around them. Their relationship, which had sometimes seemed strained under the weight of public expectation, grew stronger and more authentic. They had found a private language of creativity that belonged only to them, a way to communicate love that went beyond words or grand gestures. Friends noticed that Elvis seemed more grounded, more present. The restless energy that had often driven him to distraction was channeled into artistic expression. Priscilla bloomed with new confidence, secure in the knowledge of how deeply she was loved and valued. Years later, when people would ask Priscilla about the secret to their enduring connection, she would always think of that Christmas Eve painting and smile. Elvis had given her something no amount of fame or fortune could buy. He had given her his authentic self, his vulnerability, his creative soul. In return, she had given him something equally precious, the courage to be more than just the king of rock and roll. Elvis's unexpected gift to Priscilla wasn't just a painting. It was a revelation that transformed their love, from a public spectacle into a private sanctuary of authentic connection. By showing her his vulnerability through art, Elvis proved that the greatest gifts aren't found in jewelry stores or car dealerships, but in the courage to share your truest self with someone you love. What do you think was the most powerful moment in their story? Have you ever received a gift that completely changed how you saw someone? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might inspire others to look deeper into the hearts of those they love. Don't forget to follow for more untold stories of love, fame, and the human heart behind the legend.